I want you to think about the last anime villain that genuinely scared you. Not a villain who was powerful, not a villain who had a cool design or a banging theme song, though Yhwach has both of those things. I mean a villain who made you feel, deep in your gut, that the heroes might actually lose. A villain whose ideology made you stop and think, even a little bit, is he kinda right? I've been watching anime for a long time. I've seen Madara, I've seen Aizen, I've seen Griffith, and none of them did to me what Yhwach did. There will never be a villain like Yhwach again. Let's start at the beginning, because Yhwach is a character who rewards attention. He is the Quincy King, the father of the Quincy, the son of the Soul King himself. He has sat in darkness for 1,000 years, sleeping, waiting, slowly reclaiming the power that was sealed away from him, piece by piece, soul by soul. And when he finally wakes up, he doesn't monologue, he doesn't gloat, he just moves. That restraint is the first thing that separates Yhwach from almost every other shonen villain we've ever seen. He has no interest in performing his villainy for you. He simply enacts his will and the world bends around him. He is one of the only antagonists in anime history who feels genuinely ancient. Not just old in years, but old in certainty. He has been doing this for 1,000 years. He has seen everything. He is not surprised by anything, and that is terrifying. Here's the thing about Yhwach that most casual viewers miss, and it's the single most important thing about him as a character. He's not entirely wrong. Think about the world of Bleach for a second. Really think about it. There is a Soul King, a godlike being, who is mutilated and forced to serve as a linchpin for reality. He exists not out of dignity or purpose, but because someone decided the system needed him to. The entire world is built on the suffering of one being, and everybody in that world is just fine with it. The Soul Reapers protect the system. They enforce it. They call it order. Yhwach looks at this and calls it what it is, a lie built on a corpse. Now, his solution, merging all worlds into one, erasing death itself, is extreme. It's destructive. People die because of him. A lot of people die because of him. We're not here to argue that Yhwach is the good guy, but his diagnosis is correct, and that's rare. Most shonen villains want power for power's sake, or they want revenge for a personal slight. Yhwach wants to dismantle a cosmological injustice that genuinely exists. He is a revolutionary who has concluded that the only way to save everyone is to burn down the institution entirely. That moral complexity is what pushes him past incredibly cool, strong villain into the territory of great fiction. And it doesn't stay abstract, it gets personal. Yhwach didn't just start a war with Soul Society, he killed Ichigo's mother. Not as collateral damage, as a deliberate act of his Ausweilen ability. The power he used to drain the impure Quincy of their strength, leaving them empty shells that could no longer protect themselves. Masaki Kurosaki died not because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. She died because Yhwach decided she was less than worthy of the power he had given her. And then, he stands in front of Ichigo and tells him, essentially, you are my blood. Your Quincy powers, they came from me. Your mother, she was mine to give power to, and mine to take it back from. He doesn't say it cruelly, he says it like a fact, like a king reviewing his ledger. That is a level of personal violation that Aizen never achieved. Aizen was a chess player who moved Ichigo like a piece on a board. Yhwach is something more intimate and more horrifying. He is the source, he is the origin. Ichigo's whole existence, his powers, his heritage, the very tragedy that shaped him, runs through Yhwach. And what does Yhwach do with that connection? He uses it. He manipulates Ichigo into attacking the Soul King. Through Ichigo's own Quincy blood, through the heritage Ichigo didn't even know he had, Yhwach turns the hero into a weapon against everything he was trying to protect. Yhwach looked at Ichigo and said, I am the reason your parents' story happened at all. That is a different kind of cruelty entirely. Now let's talk about what makes Yhwach terrifying on a mechanical level. His ability is called the Almighty, and that name isn't hyperbole. Yhwach can see the future, not just one future, all possible futures. Every branch of possibility, every outcome, every variation. He sees them all simultaneously. And then, this is the part that breaks most people's brains. He doesn't just see them, he changes them. Do you understand what that means for a story? It means that any plan the heroes come up with, he has already seen. Any power they develop, any strategy they devise, any sacrifice they make, he has watched it play out in his mind before it happens. And he has already rewritten the future so that it doesn't work. Ichigo's Bankai shattered. Not because Yhwach is stronger, but because Yhwach already knew what Ichigo was going to do. This creates a villain problem that almost no shonen series has ever grappled with honestly. How do you defeat someone who cannot be surprised? The answer Type Kubo arrives at is fascinating and controversial. The only way to beat the Almighty is with something that even the Almighty cannot predict, the power of an inherently uncertain future, something that doesn't exist in any of the futures Yhwach has seen, because it isn't a plan, it's a miracle, an unpredictable, undefined moment of pure possibility. Whether you think that resolution lands or not is a fair debate, but the question Yhwach forces the story to answer is extraordinary. He doesn't just raise the stakes, he changes the nature of what it means to have stakes in a story about fighting. One of the things I love most about Yhwach, and love feels like a complicated word here, is what he does to the people on his own side. The Stern Ritter are not his allies. They are not even his soldiers. Not really. They are vessels. Every single Quincy who ever received power from Yhwach received a piece of his own soul. That piece enhanced them. It gave them abilities. It made them formidable. And at any point, Yhwach can take it back. He does this twice in the story. The first time, years before the main events of the 1,000-year Blood War, he activates his Auswillen and kills off every impure Quincy. The mixed bloods, the ones he deems not worth keeping, gone. Just like that, their lives his to reclaim. The second time is during the battle for the royal realm. His own elite guard, his hand-picked champions, are drained and left to die so that Yhwach can fuel his final push. Men and women who were fanatically loyal to him, who believed in his vision, who fought and bled for him. He consumes them without a second glance. This is the darkest version of the uses his allies as tools villain trope. Because Yhwach never pretended to love them. He never performed affection and then betrayed it. There was never warmth to betray. He was always exactly what he was, a king who views every life, including the ones that follow him, as a resource. The tragedy isn't the betrayal. The tragedy is that they knew on some level, and they followed him anyway. So why do I say there will never be another villain like Yhwach? Let me be honest with you. It's not because he's the most complex villain ever written. Characters like Griffith or Guts' own Dark Mirror have more psychological depth. It's not because his power is the most broken. You can find overpowered villains in every isekai that drops this season. It's because of what combination of things Yhwach achieves simultaneously. In a genre that almost never manages all of them at once, he is ideologically coherent. His worldview makes sense on its own terms. You can argue with it, you can disagree with it, but you can't dismiss it. He is personally connected to the protagonist at the deepest possible level, not just as an enemy, but as an origin. He is mechanically terrifying in a way that forces the narrative to answer him rather than just overpower him. He is genuinely cruel without being theatrical about it. No speeches, no gloating, just consequence. And he carries the weight of 1,000 years of history that Bleach spent its entire run building toward, whether it knew it was doing so or not. That last part is maybe the most important thing. Yhwach works because Bleach earned him. The Soul Society arc, the Arrancar saga, the history of the Quincy that was seeded across hundreds of chapters. All of it was tilling the soil for this moment. You can't manufacture that. You can't make a Yhwach in a series that hasn't done that work. And the truth is, the kind of mainstream shonen manga that creates characters like this is changing. The era of the 500 chapter, 700 episode epic with the time and space to build a cosmology from scratch, layer by layer, until the final villain feels like the answer to everything. That era is passing. Yhwach might be the last one. I've spent a lot of time thinking about why certain villains stay with you. I think it's because great villains don't just threaten the heroes, they threaten the reader. They hold up something uncomfortable and make you reckon with it. Yhwach holds up the idea of a world order built on injustice and asks who is really protecting it and why. That is the job of great fiction, and Yhwach does that job. There will never be another one like him. If you made it this far, thank you. Drop a comment, let me know what you think. I write a newsletter where I go even deeper on stuff like this. Real psychology concepts, anime breakdowns, and things that didn't make the cut for the video. Link is in the description. It's free, check it out. If you like this breakdown, the next video goes even deeper. Subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you there.